morning, everyone. I'm Michelle Pryor, Chair of the Select Board, and the Board, my colleagues, and Town Manager Beth Rudolph extend a warm welcome to Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Secretary Augustus, to members of our legislative delegation, also behind me, and to other elected officials and many guests. Just a few weeks ago, we cut the ribbon on our new Winchester Center commuter rail station. It's fully accessible, it's been updated, and with the station fully reopened, we look forward to the next addition to our downtown, which is the Waterfield Commons project, which will rise on the town-owned parcel just behind me and behind that tree. The Waterfield project took many years of hard work, rounds of negotiations with the developer and the MBTA, 2 town meeting votes and a town-wide referendum to get us to where we are. Winchester's commitment to affordable and transit-oriented housing spans more than a decade. Our first housing production plan was the catalyst for creating the Affordable Housing Trust in 2019, passing an ADU bylaw in 2022, and pursuing the adoption of the Community Preservation Act in 2024. We're proud of many town-led partnerships, including a development at the corner of Washington and Swanton Street, a currently more modest project underway on Cross Street, where the town worked with the developer to include additional affordable units in its design. Those projects, when built, will create dozens of units of affordable housing for renters of all income levels. We just recently had 2 developments open in calendar year 2024. So with several large and small affordable housing projects in the pipeline, we look forward to seeing Waterfield Commons take shape and demonstrate to our community and beyond Winchester's commitment to our affordable housing policy objectives. Waterfield Commons will be our first transit-oriented development to break ground, but it will not be the last. In the spring of 2024, with 80% of the vote, town meeting passed MBTA 3A Overlay District. And in the fall of 2024, town meeting approved the rezoning of North Main Street to create a larger mixed-use building district along the Route 134 bus line. Those buildings will have commercial development and a required minimum number of affordable housing units. The town planner and planning board have shared that we're already seeing applications in the Main Street mixed-use district. If anyone would like to learn more, please contact our town planner, Taylor Herman. I want to thank my colleague and longtime select board member, Mike Betancourt, for resurfacing for me all of the foundational work and town meeting votes that paved the way for us. Winchester values transit-oriented, sustainable, mixed-income housing in our town center, and we rely on our planning board, design review committee, numerous other volunteers, elected and appointed boards and officials, and our professional town staff to see those projects come to fruition. I will close by noting that everything I've highlighted in my remarks today could not have happened without support and leadership from the State House, from Secretary Augustus, right behind me, and his team, and to our State House delegation. Thank you all. And now, And now it is my pleasure to introduce the 73rd Governor of the Commonwealth, Ms. Maura Healey.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, to Michelle, to all the members of select boards across this great state, to the town planners, to those who work in local government and those who work with local government. I want to say thank you. You know, I know that building housing is the most important thing right now for the state. We need to build housing and we need to lower costs. And I'll have you know that over the last 2.5 years, we have been working so hard with all of you to deliver on that. And today's another example. So the message is to Massachusetts, we are building housing. We are building housing. And we're going to keep building housing. We're going to keep building housing, okay? And we're going to lower housing costs when we do that. Thank you to Beth, the town manager here in Winchester, members of the select board, including Michael Betancourt, Bill McGonigal, and everyone in this beautiful, beautiful town for welcoming us here today. I live next door in Arlington, so I come through here quite a bit. It's a beautiful town with a beautiful quality of life, beautiful commuter rail station, and now more abundant housing, reasonably priced for everybody, and that's just a great thing. Great to be here with our Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll, with our fantastic Secretary of Housing and Livable Communities at Augustus, with members of the legislature who worked with our team on that transformative $5 billion Affordable Homes Act that we got done working together, and who also also worked with us 2 years ago to cut taxes for the first time in over 20 years in the state, including important tax credits that are helping incent and drive some of this housing development, including what we're talking about today. So I want to thank Senator Jason Lewis, Representative Michael Day, Rep. Michelle Chicolo, Senator Pat Jalen, Rep. Kristen Kasner, Rep. Dan Senna, Rep. Lee Davis, Senator Jamie Elrich, and all who are here today and here in spirit, with a singular focus on building more housing around this state. I want to thank Cambridge City Manager Wong, Wareham Town Administrator Derek Sullivan, Boston Housing Authority Administrator Kenzie Bach, Dave Tragworth from Causeway Development, and our other development partners out there. Look, as I said, Winchester's a great community. This town represents so many things that make our state so special, and why we're ranked #1 in the country for education, innovation, healthcare, ranked the best state to raise a baby, to have a family. We're best for safety, safe drinking water, so much more. Good stuff going on in Massachusetts. But one thing, as I said, I know we need more of is homes that people can afford, apartments that people can afford, okay? That's the mission, Massachusetts. Build more housing. Help us build more housing. And we know that with more housing, we also have the opportunity to enrich the character of our cities and towns, to make a quality of life that makes Massachusetts even more special. Don't we want a place for our kids to live, our grandkids to live, our grandparents to live, our seniors, our veterans? We want a place for everybody to call home here in Massachusetts. So let's talk about Waterfield Commons. This is a really cool project. It's beautifully designed, and it'll be beautifully built. It's right next to a commuter rail. We talk about transit-oriented development. Makes a lot of sense, right? You wake up next door to the place where you can get on a train and get into work. And it's also in a town center, which is walkable and accessible. And this is the kind of development that we're so excited about and so pleased to support. Now, it's not just Waterfield Commons, although I hope you guys come up and see the renderings here. We're celebrating today the fact that we're giving out nearly $200 million across 21 sites here in Massachusetts to create nearly 1,300 new homes, okay?
How many, Gov? I didn't hear you.
Nearly 1,300 new homes, okay, with this announcement. It's great. We're going to touch communities from Air to Boston, Cambridge, East Hampton, Foxborough, Framingham, Hadley, South Holyoke, Lee, Malden, New Bedford, Stoughton, Topsfield, Wareham, Worcester, and more, okay? So you see, we're touching all parts of the state. These awards were made possible through the Affordable Homes Act and the historic tax cut that we passed a couple of years ago. In total, through these programs, we've created over 6,000 new affordable rental units. That's in addition to other housing that we've been building and bragging about, okay, and talking about the last couple of years. But just through that one program alone, know that we're over 6,000 units bringing online. 6,000 units that are going to transform lives of people and families around this state. So I want to thank everybody who's working so hard on every front. This is a community by community endeavor, and it's one that's teamwork. It's public-private partnership. It's local and state government working together. It's our advocates who are in the mix. We really appreciate it. And we're just going to keep going on all of this great work. So I want to credit Winchester along with all the towns who are out there doing the work, whether it's passing zoning laws or working through permitting, saying yes to housing, saying yes to abundant housing here in the state, because I want everybody moving to Massachusetts, and I want everybody to be able to afford a place to live, right? That's what we're working towards. So thank you very much to the legislature for continuing to allocate funds. Thank you to the work with developers for your ingenuity and innovation. And together, I want you to know, Massachusetts, we will meet our housing challenge. The race is on across this country. Every state is dealing with this issue. But I know Massachusetts is moving first, and we're moving fastest. We are building homes, and we're going to continue on that. And the man who's making that all possible for us is our great Secretary of Housing and Livable Communities, Ed Augustus.
Well, thank you to the governor and lieutenant governor. As was mentioned, this is the 5th time in 2 years that we've stood together to announce grant funding to build affordable homes. As the governor mentioned, there are now more than 6,000 units under construction or rehabilitation thanks to these funds. That means 6,000 affordable homes for 6,000 working families, aging adults, and essential workers across the state. This could not have been possible if not for the governor's immediate focus on housing affordability. In 2023, she gave us the tools to do more when she increased the low-income housing tax credits, and today we are seeing the real results of that commitment. I also want to remind everyone that the funds being announced today are just one component of a comprehensive housing agenda led by the Healey Driscoll administration. Also, almost 1 year ago, the governor signed the Affordable Homes Act, as was mentioned. Hundreds of permits for accessible dwelling units have been pulled by homeowners across the state. ADUs are being built in backyards, above garages, and in basements, adding units at no cost to the taxpayer. The Momentum Fund, which lifts stalled projects by providing direct equity investment, has already resulted in the pre-development of nearly 500 new units. The financial returns from the Momentum Fund generates will be reinvested into new housing, meaning there will be thousands more units still to come. And in June, the Healey Driscoll administration released an inventory of more than 450 acres of surplus state-owned land that could be used for development of 3,500 new housing units across Massachusetts. And thanks to the Affordable Homes Act, the streamlined process for disposing of that surplus land is made easier and faster for the state to identify and free up new opportunities for housing. And again, I want to echo the governor's appreciation to the members of the legislature for their hard work and support of all of these new tools. And soon, we will be announcing new additional support for office to residential conversions, allowing cities and towns to transform vacant office space into new, thriving housing. We have a housing shortage here in Massachusetts, and we are using every tool at our disposal to build more and bring down costs, which is why 90% of the units we're funding today will be guaranteed affordable for seniors and families in 16 communities across the state. And I want to take this moment to briefly acknowledge each of those communities. A very special one to me in Air, Devon's Crest Village, 114 units. In the city of Boston, 354 units across 6 projects, 50 Herald Square, 68 homes, 250 Seaver Street, 1392 House, Mildred Healey, and New North. In Cambridge, we're funding 95 units. In Walden Square. In East Hampton, 96 units, Ferry Street project. In Foxborough, we're funding 59 units at Walnut Street Phase 2. In Framingham, 61 units at Carlson Crossing East. In Hadley, 50 units at the Econo Lodge redevelopment. In Holyoke, 40 units at South Holyoke Housing Homes Phase 3. In Lee, 44 units at Eagle Mill Phase 2. In Malden, 20 units at 213 Main Street. In New Bedford, 27 units at Temple Landing 2. In Stoughton, 96 units at Stoughton, Hebrew Senior Life in Stoughton. In Topsfield, 44 units at Emerson Homes. In Wareham, Cranberry Manor Phase 2, 40 units. In Worcester, 48 units at Colony on Grove. And of course, the 56 units here in Winchester at Waterfield Commons. Before I turn it over to the next speaker, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge and appreciate publicly somebody I rely on and somebody I know all of you rely on a day in and day out basis. That's our Undersecretary for Housing Production, Kate Racer, and her entire team. And I do want to give a special shout out to CDAC, who's been a great partner with us, one of our quasi-agencies. And to all the folks who've been involved with the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is another tool that has been used in all of these projects. So now it's my honor to introduce David Tregoth with Causeway Development for a few words. David?
Thank you, Secretary Augustus, and good morning, everyone. I'm Dave Tregoth from Causeway Development, representing the joint venture of Causeway Civico, developers of Waterfield Commons, a beautiful project that will be built right over there, and we're thrilled to be among the awardees. This project reflects Winchester's vision for the future of this key transit-oriented site. And we're bringing 56 new homes to one of the Commonwealth's highest opportunity communities. 40 of our 56 apartments will be affordable to families earning 60% below area median income. And for too long, communities like Winchester have been out of reach for working families, and this project helps to change that equation. When complete, employees can walk to work at these amazing businesses, and I want to mention that Nouvelle Mason is offering some free coffee afterwards if you want to get out of the rain, right next to the project site, and we thank them for that. And nurses and doctors can commute to Boston, and seniors can downsize while staying connected to their community. Waterfield Commons will also represent the latest in passive house design and construction, all electric, energy efficient, and really built for the future. This moment didn't happen overnight. It took years of planning, public meetings, collaboration with local leaders who prioritized housing and that meets the needs of the community. It also took a state administration committed to turning bold housing goals into real homes, and we're grateful for that. At Causeway Civico, we've delivered thousands of homes across Massachusetts, from the Berkshires to Boston, and we're ready to get to work right here in Winchester. Thank you, Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, and the town of Winchester for making today possible. And it's my pleasure to welcome Senator Jason Lewis, a big supporter, to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. A special thank you to the smart person who organized the tent for the event this morning. It's wonderful to celebrate our progress in building affordable housing here in Massachusetts with Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Secretary Augustus, my colleagues in the state legislature, municipal officials, developers, and everybody else who's here today. As has already been said, but never can be repeated enough, there is a dire need for more affordable housing options for residents in communities in Greater Boston and across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This $182 million in a combination of tax credits and subsidies will create well over 1,000 new affordable housing units. This is the direct result of the leadership of Governor Healey working in close partnership with the state legislature. In 2023, we passed a major tax relief bill that included a big increase, in fact, a 50% increase in the annual cap for the low-income housing tax credit. And last year, as you heard, we passed the $5 billion Affordable Homes Act, which is by far the largest investment in housing, including public housing, in the state's history. This is spurring production of housing and modernization of the public housing stock across the state. I am super excited to see the construction of Waterfield Commons finally moving forward here in Winchester. As you heard, there will be 56 new units, over 70% of which will be affordable, either at 60% of area median income, and some of them at 30% of area median income. 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median income. And some of them at 30% of area median inc As we know, it will be right next to the newly renovated Winchester Center commuter rail station. We just cut the ribbon on the new station with the general manager, Eng, 2 weeks ago. Fortunately, today is not as hot as it was that day. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to the MBTA and to the Healey administration for working with the town of Winchester for years to complete this critical infrastructure project that will spur significant transit-oriented growth, including both market rate and affordable housing, just like the Waterfield Commons project, but more to come. And this will provide greater options for our young people, for our seniors, and for working families to live and thrive here in this wonderful community. I also want to use this opportunity to thank Governor Healey and Attorney General Campbell for standing firm on our state's commitment to the MBTA Communities Act. And I want to congratulate my hometown of Winchester for approving updated zoning bylaws last year in a town meeting that I will add went very smoothly to become compliant with the MBTA Communities Law. These modest zoning changes are an effective way to increase housing opportunities across the greater Boston area. And finally, thank you to Causeway Development and Civico for hanging in there with the town. This project unfortunately took way too long, but we've got to the place where we need to be. Again, thank you to this financing from the state. And this will be a wonderful addition of new housing units in a perfect location, which will be to the betterment of the community of Winchester. So thank you. And it is now... And it is now my pleasure to introduce my friend and close partner in the legislature, Representative Mike Day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Winchester. We got the dulcet tones of the commuter rail coming through right now. I wanted to open just again by underscoring our gratitude to the Healey administration for coming back out to Winchester. Always welcome, always a great time when the Healey administration comes back into town. And underscore what a terrific partnership this has been. This is how government's supposed to work, frankly. You've heard some references. This wasn't exactly an A to B project, more like an Irish country road of back twitches and moving forward, it fits and starts. But this is a true public-private partnership that's coming through on every level of government. From the Healey administration announcing today's grants, in partnership with the town of Winchester, who worked cooperatively with the developer to bring in mixed income housing to Winchester. Sorely needed housing in Winchester that's going to not only take care of our residents of today, but plan for future generations to make sure this town remains as attractive as it is to visitors, future residents, and our children moving forward. So I'm really here just to say thank you to the Select Board, the Planning Board, our town manager, who never gave up. I learned more about what an orphan parcel is than anyone ever should know. My partners in the legislature, who worked with the Healey administration to make sure that these grants were available and funded so that we do continue to attack our housing crisis. Stick around. I know the rain is cooling off the heat, and it may not be the greatest unless you have an umbrella, but do stick around, explore our downtown for those of you who are coming to visit for the first time, and enjoy Winchester. Thank you all for being here, and I'm thrilled to hand it back to Governor Healey.
Thanks, everybody. And thank you out there for the work underway and all that you're going to bring online in communities across this state. What happened?